Hey there, everybody. Welcome back. Another week gone by. It's flying by. Time is hard to keep track of these days. This is Josh with WA Production here for another live stream feedback session. Looking forward to checking out all of your awesome tracks today and having a listen. I'm going to be trying something a little different today. Before I open up the server, the channel on Discord for the submissions, I'm going to give you guys a little opportunity to guarantee that I listen to your track. So anyone who submits their track through Discord and in the comment on their submission is able to guess what the first synth plugin that I ever used was, I will guarantee for the first 10 who get it right to give them feedback today. So with that being said, I'm going to open up the channel. You can only guess once. You can't submit multiple guesses. You can't submit multiple songs. If you do either of those things, I am going to skip you. Not because I don't like you, but because we got to have some rules. Otherwise, it's not fair for everybody. I'm not going to go in a particular order, as usual. And just because I selected your song doesn't mean you got the question right. But I do suggest having a list or submitting the name of whatever synth you think was the first synth I ever used in the comment with your song. You can't send two comments, have one be the song, and then later send in the guess, because then I'm not organized enough to be able to read all that stuff. So try that. Again, our only way of submitting tracks for feedback is through our Discord server. The link should be above my head, and you can do it that way. I will try to get to as many as I can. But yeah, if you guess right and you're one of the first 10 who does so, I guarantee that I'll give you feedback today. So try and guess which plugin. It's not a WA plugin, unfortunately. It's a long time ago. But which plugin was the first synth plugin that I ever used? And I will do my best to, I guarantee I'll listen to your track. So here we are again. I'm going to get things started. Let's take a look at the submissions. So far, no one has guessed. And no one's even attempted to guess. So still a lot of opportunity. If you want to guarantee that I listen to your track, there's a lot of opportunity to do that. So let's get started. We're going to start with Dead Inside by Pauline. People are asking, should you comment the answer in here? No, the answer to my quiz question should be in Discord. If you've already posted your track, maybe you can edit it and include your answer. Again, nobody has really answered the question yet, but just trying to help you out and give you a way to guarantee that I listen to your track. But don't post it in the comments on YouTube or Facebook or anywhere else, because that doesn't count. It has to be submitted through Discord. So, all right, Pauline, Dead Inside. was dope. Wow, really good start, man. I'm seeing that maybe there isn't an edit option in a post on Discord. Sorry, I'm still kind of new to Discord, so I'm not sure. But maybe you can delete your previous post and put it in there. Again, I'm not going in any particular order, so I mean, it might be worth it to delete your first post and then post it again. I think there is an edit option. I see it. No, there is. I see some people editing. Okay, so going back to Pauline, sorry if I'm not pronouncing that right, but that was really, really good. That's like totally right up my alley in terms of genre and style. But it's really well produced, well mixed. It's melancholy. It hits pretty hard. I think really just like fine tuning a couple things, but really it doesn't need much. Firstly, I think in the breaks, outside of the drop, your kick is a little loud. It kind of sounds like it's the same volume as in the drops. For this kind of genre, I mean, you could even low pass the kick a bit, filter it a bit for those parts, just to give it that kind of like, I don't know, more farther away, understated kick, and then in the drop, obviously have the full kick. That's one option, or you can just lower the volume, but I think I would do that. And then just detail work, like for the fills and stuff. I kind of, I don't know, you listen to RL Grime, What's So Not, these kind of guys are in similar genre, and like their fills are pretty intricate. And so I think that you could do a little bit more with those. And then maybe, I don't know, the end is a little abrupt for me. Maybe have a little bit more of a tail as far as an outro or something like that. But that's really it. I mean, it sounds really, really good. Maybe look at the master. I mean, just visual, it sounded good, but I also have it like blasting. So maybe look at it visually looks like it could be a little bit more limited, but if it sounds good, it sounds good. I'm just not sure. I'd want to throw it into my metering plugin and see where it's hitting on the RMS and LUF scale. So, but you don't want to lose all the dynamics. So I'm not saying just crush it for no reason. But anyway, that was really, really cool. So nice job. Okay. Alien Intercourse by Chasm.
Is this rhythm? Bitch!
Wow, that was a whole lot of heavy for 30 seconds. So, I mean, that's dope. Really cool. The production's cool. The sound design is really awesome. I almost kind of wanted to hear some, like, vocal shouts or something. I know they can be kind of corny, but if done well with something unique, I think that could help with just building, like, having something to keep the beat. I mean, you obviously have the kick, but just something there that kind of just keeps the head banging going. I mean, there's not much I can say about a 30-second track other than that it sounds great and that you produced it well and that you should finish it and keep working on it. So nice job. All right, so we got In My Head by FM Killers. And by the way, I will answer eventually what my first plugin synth was, but I'm not going to answer now. Otherwise, you guys will all know because we haven't had 10 people get it right yet. So just a reminder for those who might have tuned in late, if you want to have a guaranteed listen to your track today, when you submit it on Discord, include the name of what you think was the first plugin synth that I ever used. So just a little fun game we're going to play. So here we go. In My Head, FM Killers. Cool. Yeah, I dig that. There's definitely some things though I think that you can do to really take it to the next level. Firstly, I think it does get a little repetitive in terms of the vocal and the lead melody. Um, you can switch some things up, maybe add in a bridge, something like that, just to make it a bit more engaging. And then the drop just it doesn't bang like it needs a few things. One, I would say, is maybe a bit more side chaining, like really cutting it out when the kick comes in. Um, Secondly, some saturation. I think that like your bass is just very dry. And like even your chords and stuff like that. So I mean, just giving it some more overtones to fill in those parts and just make it a bit more gritty, um, and punchy would be cool. And the master would probably help with that too. I think that it's just like it's not punched enough into a limiter, I think. But I mean, yeah, it's a cool idea. It just needs some like production work on it to get it to sound super professional and like as if you're at a festival. So that would be my main tips. I mean, I think that when you get to this breakdown, you get a little lost. Like the listeners maybe like, all right, let's keep it going. So maybe adding some more detail work and keeping it interesting. But I mean, it's well produced, and you did a good job. And so I just kind of would keep focusing on getting better at those little things. So, all right. Next, we have The Escaping Spirit by Kilo. Let's check it out.
Can you hear me?
I love that. That was awesome. Yeah, I mean, it's really really good. The production's great, sounds great. It's commercially produced sounding, and I think my main comments would just be number one, the biggest thing. I think that outro is just like abrupt, and so I would, for this kind of genre, it doesn't need to be 3 minutes. It can be a bit longer if you want, and so I would have more. What I'm hearing in my head, and there's other ways you can do it, but it's just kind of like a slowly you slowly remove elements, for like maybe the next 30 seconds, 45 seconds, and like have it, filter down into a real outro. But I mean, yeah, that's really cool. I mean, maybe you were intending to do that anyway. I know it's a work in progress, but if I had to say something, I mean, maybe add some other cool spatial elements like, an ocean waves or jungles, not jungle, but like outdoorsy ethereal sounds. But I mean, you don't need to overdo it. Obviously, part of the awesomeness of this track is the relative simplicity, but it kept me engaged throughout. I wanted to continue listening. Really, really cool vibes. So I mean, that's just there's not much I can say about it. So great job. Okay, off slide. Don't hold me down.
Don't hold me down. Don't hold me down. Don't hold me. Don't hold me down. Don't hold me down. Don't hold me down. Don't hold me down. Don't hold me. Don't hold me down. Don't hold me down.
Really cool. I mean, the drop's really cool. The piano sounds great. That vocal chop is really awesome. So first of all, I think what detracts from the drop is the fact that the build, firstly, could be better. And secondly, is just as loud as the drop. I mean, right here and right here, this is the build. And it's exactly the same volume and stuff as the drop. And so the drop isn't as impactful because the build kind of just flows right into it. Whereas, if you lowered some of the elements like the drums and things and filtered a bit, it would just be way more impactful. One technique that probably some of you know is perhaps to I think that might help in this one is that you could kind of narrow the stereo width as you get towards the drop and then bring it totally back in the drop, which I think would be effective in this case because you have those really wide epic synths in the drop. So that'd be cool. You can do that in Ableton using a utility plugin and just automate the width, to be a bit more narrow, and then bring it back. That's one thing. Yeah, I mean, that's the main thing. I think you could maybe bring in a little bit more sub frequency in the drop, a little bit more sub in the bass. Not necessary. I mean, it really depends how heavy you want the song to feel. I feel like it could be a little bit more. You don't need to turn it into a dubstep track or anything, but I really like that though. I mean, it's really, really good. So keep it up, just work on the details, and that build just, you have those cool military, cinematic drums before the build, and but in the build you kind of just revert a little bit more back to like just kind of typical full on the floor kind of EDM build, and I think it could be a bit more unique and interesting than that. And just what I said about making it really build and then bring in the big bang for the drop. So but yeah, great job. Okay, we got Are We Dreaming by Cyril Zunio. Probably did not say that right, but let's check it out.
Treading on a thin line, hitting rock bottom. From the rubble. Feeling lost and out of place. Nowhere to go, nowhere to run. Been searching for so long. I just want to find someone. Take
right. Wow. Definitely cool. I like the ethereal, I don't know, very experimental sounding song. Definitely have some comments. I mean, 9 minutes is super long, and I get that it's an experimental song, but you know, it just depends what your goal is for the song. I mean, do you want people to listen on Spotify and stuff like that? Do you only want to use it for cinematic reasons or something like that? I I just when you aren't a huge name artist in a certain genre and you try to come out with a song that's 9 minutes long, people just like a listener doesn't give you the benefit of the doubt, unfortunately. With like a big name artist, maybe they'll be like, okay, cool, I can wait 3 minutes, 4 minutes for the first drop. Um, because like I know this artist is so sick, it's probably going to be worth it. Whereas with somebody who's up and coming, unfortunately you don't get that level of benefit of the doubt, so that they might turn it off after 30 seconds of not seeming to get to the point. And so that's I'm not telling you to change your style or to change how you do things, but if I were you and if I was going back in time and working on my own music, I would take this and turn it into a 3 minute song. That would be my suggestion, but take that for what you will. I think that when you get into these like halftime drops, not the part where it's twice speed, the bass just kind of lingers. It sustains the whole time, and so there's really not any groove. So I would suggest that you have the bass not just play the entire time, have it play some sort of a rhythm, have it leave the mix and have it come back and have it have some sort of groove. Additionally, everything except the lead vocal is quite reverbed, quite delayed, which I think sounds pretty good. I mean, maybe you could reduce it on some elements, but that lead vocal it's just kind of dry in comparison. And so without drowning it out, I would suggest, if you're going to have everything be so spatial and reverby, that the lead vocal needs to feel like it's in the same room or the same space. Yeah, I mean, those would be my main things. I mean, there's some other detail work and things like that, but I really, really personally think that you'll be hard pressed to have someone wait until this point, which is, I think, like 4 minutes in, for the first climax. So just take that for what you will. Okay, we've got Shout by Semenga. All right. Sorry, quick pause. Don't forget, guys, if you want to have a guaranteed listen today, there still have not been 10 people who've guessed my first plugin that I ever used, my first synth plugin that I ever used. So there is still space. If you submit your song on Discord and correctly guess the first synth plugin that I ever used, I will listen to your track today, guaranteed. If you're within the first 10 who do it, and we definitely do not have 10 who have guessed it right. So, all right, sorry for the pause. Let's go. Nice, really cool. I like that version of a remix there. It was unexpected, but it works. It's pretty cool. Um, so I feel like the the thing I always say is length of the song. And for this one, obviously it's an extended mix. It's got a full intro, full outro. However, I do think it would be a more effective song if you got it down to, even with the intro and outro, got it down to like 4.5 minutes. I think that, this genre is repetitive. And I'm not saying that's your fault. That's just what it is. It's literally the same bass loop over and over again, which is great. I love this genre. However, if it's really long, people do get bored. And so I think that you could reduce this section by half, or you can have it not take so long to get back to the second drop, and people will be really into it the whole time, and then they'll keep pressing replay rather than waiting the whole song and then they don't come back to listen. So um, that would be one thing. The other, I think that your main bass, which obviously for this genre is like the lead essentially. I think that weirdly enough, I would say it maybe has a little too much sub. At first I wanted to say it was too loud, but then I was thinking about it more, and I think maybe if you just EQ'd a bit of the sub, that would kind of solve all the issues. I mean, it's not bad. It sounds good. I like that it's so audible, and that that's really the driving force of the song. But I think you could work on that a little bit. Maybe take a listen to some other songs in the genre and just kind of try to emulate the EQ and just how the bass sits in it. But it's minor. It's not a huge thing, but I think that it would reduce ear fatigue with the song. But generally very good. And just maybe some detail work. Some of the fills are a little empty feeling, so I think you could add some cool stuff. But those really awesome when the drop comes in and you've got those like cool wide, scratchy kind of sounds and stuff. I mean, it was really cool, and I like the very analog sounding, plucky sounds and all of that. So it was really good. Nice job. Okay, we've got Polarity by Aviva, I think. All right, let's check it out.
I wish that I could be with you.
Okay, nice job. So the sounds are cool. I obviously like those classic sounding trancy sounds. So I think here the thing you need to focus most on is composition. this song, while the sounds are cool, it's mixed pretty well. It just doesn't sound like it's going anywhere. It kind of sounds just like you threw out a bunch of ideas and just like let it go. There doesn't sound like there's a clear beginning, middle, and end. Um, there's not like there's not any catchiness. Like there's not something I'm gonna remember later and whistle. And so I just think that you're doing pretty well with the production and with the sound design. I think now the key is to, I don't know if it's take a course or to learn online or to really focus on creating a song rather than just a track, if that makes sense. Um, so, I mean, that's not something I can just give you quick tips on. I mean, it's something that you get better at over time. But maybe try and listen. I know you said it's Blade theme inspired. It sounds quite different. I think it has some like elements like that. But either that or if there's a song that you really like in a similar style or something, have a listen and think, wow, well, what makes this song good? Is it the sounds? Is it the structure? Is it the chorus? I mean, what is it? And I think that you'll get better over time at this. So, I mean, your production is good. It's just that, you need both production and composition quality and songwriting if you've got vocals and stuff like that to make a good song. And so I think that that's the element that you need to work on. Nice job, though. All right, real quick pause here. I'm just going to show you guys. This week we put out Synthwave Arcade 2. It's a really awesome pack here. Another really cool feature we've added to our web store is that now you can actually preview all the individual sounds in every one of our products, which is awesome. So, you can really have a listen to all of the individual sounds before you make a purchase or a download. You also can get the individual sounds themselves through our Lupidemi app. And so you'll get 50 free coins when you first sign up through the voucher code that you can find on our social media. But it's a really awesome new way. You can search it by BPM, key, all these different things. So making our web store a lot better, making it easier to find things, and you can really listen before buying a pack to exactly what's inside. So it's a huge upgrade to our website. So hope you guys find that valuable. All right, moving on. We've got Martin Oakson, something like this. That was great. I mean, it's sounds great. it feels great. It's catchy, it's groovy, all the elements sound good together. They've all got their own space. I mean, the mix down is really clean. So nice job. If I had to pick something, I would say that maybe a bit more detail work and fills and like little one shots and effect shots and stuff like that would kind of add a little bit of icing on the cake. Maybe, the second half of this second drop, I would add maybe like a Hoover or something. I know you kind of do, but like maybe just some sort of background noise. I don't know, maybe even some white noise just like going along with the rhythm or something, just to kind of, again, similar to what I said before, this is a repetitive genre, and you did a great job. It's only 3.5 minutes, including the intro and outro. But maybe do something in that second part of the drop to keep it a bit more engaging. But I mean, this song's ready to release, though. I mean, like, these are little things that, if you don't do, it's still a good song. So I think it's really good. Maybe you already released it. I know it's private, but this is 10 months ago, so who knows. But I don't have too much to say. I mean, anything I say will be pretty nitpicky. So nice job, though. Alrighty. Since we're in the latter part of this, I will tell you guys my answer for what my first synth plugin was, just out of interest. Obviously, I'm not gonna, after this point, guarantee listening if you guess it right, because now I'm telling you the answer. But the answer is Sylenth 1 by Lenar Digital. Some of you guys guessed it, not too many. A few of you did, but yeah, I mean, that was a great synth. It still is. Still use it today. This was about 10 years ago. And a little interesting backstory is that my friend Blau, who I imagine many of you know, came over to my house about 9 years ago. And I was not a good producer. And he was like, dude, check this out. This is a really cool tool that I've got. And he actually sent me Sylenth, and I installed it, and I was like, dang, that's awesome. So yeah, that's the one. Now, many years later, it's still a great tool. All right, we've got Dionysium, Flume, Rushing Back, Dionysium remix.
I always let the day slip away. I should have been making up my mind. I never opened up, took it all in, and now I'm running out of time. Sometimes I dream about going back, keeping all the things I left behind. But now I know you can't change the past, way too young to know the reason why. And it all comes rushing back, rushing back. And it all comes rushing back, rushing back. And it all comes rushing back, rushing back. And it all comes rushing back. Feel the gravity pulling me faster than it ever has before. When I was 17, nicotine loving had me rushing out the door. I try to hold it back, take a breath, looking at old pictures on the floor. But I hear everything telling me you don't have the time to let it go. Rushing back, rushing back. have been making up my mind. I never opened up to my reason why. Rushing back, rushing back. And it all comes rushing back, rushing back. And it all comes rushing back, rushing back. All comes rushing back, rushing back. And it all comes rushing back, rushing back.
Nice. That was cool. I mean, I really dig that, especially the like future heavy drop. That was really cool. I do think, I mean, in your comments, you kind of say, I hope it doesn't sound like a random mashup of styles. I mean, it doesn't, but I do think you could be benefited from a little bit more focus. I get the temptation. I often struggle with like, man, I have like 3 great ideas for this song. But unfortunately, 3 great ideas are usually worse than 1 great idea. And so I would maybe consider consolidating a bit for future songs. But I do think it was really cool the way you did it. And I think it works. I'm not saying it's bad, but I think it maybe could be a little bit more focused. But it sounds really great. I mean, it sounds like you sampled some different stuff from different artists, which obviously, you can't release that, professionally, but it sounds really cool. I mean, it's well produced. I think there's some detail stuff and some mixed things. I know somebody else mixed it for you. It's mixed well, but I think that I mean, I think just focus will help you, and I know that it can be tough to get rid of cool stuff, but you can always use it for a different project or for something else. So that'd be my main thing, but it really is good. It was really fun to listen to, and these are small things, so I think you did a great job. Okay, we've got Dreamer featuring Zach Noble by Ayanu.
Light shower and my body's all gone. Shower and my body's all gone. All gone.
Cool. That vocal is really good. I think it's a great track. I have a few comments. Number 1 would be that lead, whistly kind of lead hurts. It hurts your ears a bit. So especially when it goes up an octave. So do some, either replace it, or if you want to keep it, which is fine, do some reductive EQ, subtractive EQ, and I always use the trick of use a boost, like a narrow boost, and just glide through the track, through the frequency spectrum, and see which pieces hurt your ears. And those pieces then do a dip, dip the EQ out. So that'd be one thing. Another is your synth chords are cool, but very thin. So either add some saturation, or add some layers, because it could be, it's just not a full sound. And same with the drums, they're a little thin and dry, and narrow. So, you got this clap that's like very thin. And also your guitar, which is a great sound, should be wider. It's very narrow, straight down the middle. You should add some chorus effect or do something else to widen the stereo sound in this kind of a style when you've got it's an EDM, dance music, electronic song, and you go into that sort of acoustic vibe part. Usually in those kind of songs, the guitar is quite wide, and the vocal is centered, with some cool effects and everything. So that would be my main tips there, but it really sounds cool. So nice job. All right, we've got Blue Skies by Arca, who guessed my synth plugin correctly from 2 years ago. All right, let's check it out. Cool. So the piano sounds awesome. I mean, that sounds like super professional and really good. The drop chords are cool. The progression is nice. I think the weakest part is your lead. I think that number one, the lead isn't that interesting or unique, the sound itself, and the melody just isn't that catchy. So honestly, I would scrap it if I were you. I'm not saying you have to, but that's just what I would do. And I would start afresh, especially since it's been 2 years. You probably have a better ear now. You probably can come up with something more interesting. And that's what I think is the weakest part of the song, is that there's not like that hook that really is memorable and engaging. But the piano is really great. The mix is pretty good. The drop concept is great. That lead needs to be bigger and more interesting and have layers and more reverb and make it just epic, and it doesn't mean it needs to be more complicated. You can make a lead that's much simpler in melody than what you have right now, and I think it would be more effective. So just try and come up with something that's more interesting, and I know that's not great easy to follow advice, but I think that'll do you a lot of good. So nice job. All right. Thank you for resending this in, Annalena. We got it going now. So we've got Gravity ID.
You said you'd stay until we die, and we'll meet in another life. You were mine, you were mine. In front of me are crushing trains, a symbol for all my mistakes and all the lies. But if you hold me, go back chasing weird dreams. There's no sun. deep. And if you fall, you see there is no.
Cool. The vocal's great. I'm guessing that's your vocal. I don't know, but sounds really good. I really love some of those sounds, especially the like, bah, the, like big synthy brass almost. Very cool. Um, so firstly, the vocal, it sounds like there's some really low frequency information that really shouldn't be there. I don't know if it's because of the layer that you have down there or just an EQ thing or whatever, but really in your vocal, I'm not saying just to high pass everything, which you probably should at a certain level, but like there really shouldn't be too much, especially for a female vocal, um, below the like 200 hertz range. I mean, there really shouldn't be anything really for the most part. I'm not saying that's hard and fast. It really depends on the song, but um, yeah, there's like some subby low end stuff going on there. Um, Secondly, everything is really good. It needs work mixing and all that. I know this is a work in progress, so I'm not going to go too into detail with that, but everything's really good like until the drop, and the drop just kind of sounds like um, there's some really good elements, but it's just not well thought out. The chord progression is very basic. It just kind of goes ba 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 ba, I think, and it's just kind of like predictable and just doesn't really make you that excited. It's kind of a letdown when you get to the drop, and I think that you need to work on making that more unique and interesting and just like awesome. I mean, there's some really cool elements that you throw into the drop, but like the majority of it is a little basic. But I mean, as far as up until the drop, I mean, I was really engaged, and so that's part of the problem is when you set yourself up so well, your drop better be like amazing. So it's a blessing and a curse to have that good of an intro and build up. So I think those are the main things. I mean, just work on making it just like as cool as possible, make every section as awesome as possible, and it'll be a great song. But nice job. Okay, guys, so we are a little past the end of our hour, so I'm going to have to sign off. But one thing to note, so I am taking the day off next Sunday, so we are actually going to do it on Friday, I think, this time. I mean, we'll update on social media closer to the time, but I believe that we will be doing it Friday, same time, instead of Sunday. So maybe there's some people out there who struggle to get here on Sundays that'll be able to make it on Friday. So that is the plan for now, and we'll update you soon. But then we'll be going back to our regular schedule after that. So anyway, it's been really great. Today was awesome. I mean, every track was really, really good. So looking forward to keeping doing this every week. So anyway, have a great one and enjoy the rest of your weekend. And I am going to sign off now. Thank you very much and have